All right, hello navigators. And so I wanted to do this little quick video to talk about Mercury, okay? Because Mercury in astrology represents the mind, the intellect, communication. It rules how we think, learn, and exchange information. But it also governs our daily interactions, our mental processes, and the gathering of information, and it influences things like speaking, writing, and memory. Okay, and it rules the signs of Virgo and Gemini. Okay, and so we are currently in Virgo season, right? Mercury is what's called a personal planet, and so today I wanted to talk about how your Mercury sign really influences more so of or less of your communication with your spouse, and how that if your Mercury sign and your spouse's Mercury sign or partner or ex-spouse, whatever, if those energies are incompatible, how that can play a really big role in your in the demise of your marriage. Okay, so I'm going to do a personal story. I'm going to tell a story because this is the best way for me to like articulate this information. Okay, so my Mercury is in the sign of Libra, which is air energy. My ex-husband's Mercury was in the sign of Gemini, okay, which is also air energy. Both of our Mercuries were retrograde, so meaning that when we were born, Mercury was retrograde at the time. So when Mercury is retrograde, it doesn't your thoughts, your communication, all of the things that Mercury represents, it kind of is a little wonky. Okay, and so it doesn't like function the same in the same manner as somebody who was born when Mercury was direct and it was functioning, the way it normally would function. Okay, now you would think that because Libra and Gemini energies are air energies, that our thought processes would be good, right? That our communication would be great, and because we are both air energy. Okay, however, one, you do have to take the whole chart into consideration, but for the most part, air energy and air energy, you would think that they would get along good. Okay, now I have Mercury is conjunct Saturn, okay, and it's also conjunct Pluto in the sign of Libra. He just has Gemini. He has his sun also in Gemini, but they're not conjunct. Okay, so when it comes to my communication, Libra energy is the energy of a partnership, of balance. So when I like to communicate with people, I like to bounce ideas off of people. I also like to do like pros and cons, and weigh things out, because Libra is the scales, it's justice, it's I think in terms of fairness and balance, right? Gemini energy can be a mischievous energy. It's the first sign of the zodiac, so it's very kind of self-focused. It's like toddler energy. Okay, when you look at the zodiac, Aries is baby energy. It's the first, and no, Gemini's not toddler. Baby is first is Aries, then toddler is Taurus energy, and then Gemini is like preschool energy. Okay, Not saying that people have Gemini energy are, preschoolers or whatever, because that's not it. It's just that's when you look at the wheel, the stages of life, Gemini is that preschool energy. Okay, so and as you keep going around the wheel, Libra energy is more like teenager like energy. Okay, and so when you're communicating with somebody, you have to take a look. That plays a role in the dynamic as well. But Gemini energy can be the energy of the trickster, because Mercury is, when you look at the mythological background of Mercury, it's like that trickster energy. Okay. So Gemini energy can be very tricky. When you talk to people who have strong Gemini energy, especially if their Mercury is in Gemini, they sometimes can talk in riddles, and they say things that can kind of trip you up, and you're like, what the hell? Wait a minute, what did you just say? Like, that don't make sense. So and then they think really fast. Because Mercury is at home in the sign of Gemini. So they think really fast. They speak really fast. And me having my Mercury in Libra and retrograde, it takes me a while. Like, I have to process stuff, because I do like weigh things out. And like, I like to bounce ideas off of people. But I also it takes me, I have to process stuff. Okay, so it may take me a minute to process stuff. And then when people speak really super fast, I'm like, whoa, please calm down, please slow down, right? Another energy that is hard for me to kind of communicate with Mercury's is Aries, which is the opposite of Libra. But anyway, I say all of this to say that when you know your communication style and how you communicate, then it's so much easier for you when it comes to choosing a partner. When you're ready to get back in the dating, choosing a partner that you can communicate fluently with. Now, you don't have to know their Mercury sign, although that would help, if you did. But you don't have to know their Mercury sign to see if you guys are compatible. Just by knowing your communication style and how you communicate, it will help you in the future to learn to choose partners that you can communicate fluently with, and not try to force communication or change communication or make them want to be better communicators with you. No, just we can't communicate, and go and vet somebody else, and communicate with other people and see how the communication style works, because communication is it's very foundational in any relationship, and it just doesn't have to be romantic. Within any relationship, communication is like one big foundational. It's very foundational. Okay, so you want to understand your Mercury sign, really get in depth and know. And a lot of neurodivergent people, their Mercuries are retrograde. So when you pull your natal chart on astro.com, it's free, and there's a little tutorial I have a tutorial. I'll put it in the description of this video. But you want to really, when you pull your chart, you want to see if you have the little R by your Mercury sign, because if you do, then you were born when Mercury was retrograde, which means the way you think and process, the way it's normally done in that sign, there's a variation to it for you, and you do things a little differently. Now, if you have planets conjunct your Mercury sign, that's also gonna, skew things as well. Like me having Saturn conjunct my Mercury, I don't do small talk, right? And so like Libra energy can be it can be a superficial energy, and all the air energies actually can. Very superficial. They don't go, get in deep because it's air energy. It's just, floats by. But having Saturn conjunct my Mercury, I don't do superficial conversations very well. I don't do small talk very well. And I used to think it was something wrong with me until I pulled my chart and I saw that, and I started studying, and I was like, oh, that's why I don't be with small talk. Like, is this gonna be productive? Is this conversation gonna be a conversation that's gonna, be productive? Because if not, I don't want to waste my time, And then I also have Pluto conjunct my Mercury, which Pluto is the planet of transformation and death and rebirth. And so I also, with Pluto goes deep, right? And so I like having deep conversations, deep nuanced conversations. And so anything like just shallow, over the years I've learned to kind of adapt, and I can have very minimal conversations that aren't deep, but the conversation is somehow going to turn deep, like that's just the way my mind operates. And so you want to really study your Mercury sign, get to know your Mercury sign, get to really know why and how you communicate, and so that way going forward, you can be a more effective communicator. And even if you do know your ex-spouse's birth time or whatever, and sometimes you don't even have to, if you just know their birthday, you can go on a Mercury calculator. You don't have to know the birth time actually. If you can just find, if you know their birthday, you can put in the Mercury calculator, and it can pretty much tell you when their where Mercury was at the day that they were born, and then you could be able to see their Mercury, what their Mercury sign is, and look at your Mercury sign, and then you'll be able to tell whether or not it is, you guys, your communication style, if you would be able to communicate. And that's just off first glance. Now, obviously, there's many factors that are involved, and so don't just not talk to somebody because of their Mercury sign. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is it'll be able to tell you whether or not you even want to attempt it or not. Like for me, if I'm talking to a guy and their birthday is in Aries season, that's gonna be a no for me. Because I already know that Aries energy is an energy that it's just way too aggressive, and I have a fire moon, a fire Mars, and I'm a fire rising. But when it comes to communication, I'm air energy, and I'm Libra. So Aries is the opposite of Libra, and it's way too combative for me. Like it should be doing way too much. And so even with all of the fire energy that I have, Aries Mercury, Aries energy, period. But especially Aries Mercury, I just cannot handle it. Like in a long-term setting, I can do short doses of Aries energy, right? And it's nothing, against Aries people. They cool people. It's just, it's a little too much fire for me. Even with all of the fire I have, it's just a little too much fire for me. So when you really start to understand yourself and who you are energetically, it really helps you to where you are able to better, interact with other people. Okay. So I hope this helps. I hope it wasn't all over the place. I didn't, the purpose of this wasn't to talk, not putting down my ex-husband or anything. It was just, highlighting that even though his Gemini Mercury and my Libra Mercury are in the same modality of air, it not modality, element, in the same element of air, it didn't work. And two modalities also, which modalities are like the quality. So like Libra is cardinal modality, Gemini is mutable modality. Okay, and so mutable is very changeable energy, and the cardinal energy is like that initiating energy. Okay, and so the modalities also clashed, and so that's another thing that you want to look at as well. So I hope this made sense. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments of this video. I really want to let's really start a discussion, and let's really we got to start understanding ourselves better, because the better you understand yourself, you can learn how to avoid mistakes going forward in your relationships, right? And so you don't want to keep repeating. You don't want to find somebody, think they're great, you get married, and then it's like, oh my God, it's just like the last guy I was with. This isn't gonna work, right? So once you learn yourself, you become limitless, and so that's what we're doing here on this channel, Understanding You University. So I hope this helps. If you want to go more, in depth, then you definitely want to grab your free copy of my ebook, From Breakup to Brilliance, the Natal Astrology Healing Method, and I just explain first 3 steps of the method, how to use it, and it truly is life changing. So you can grab that. It's free. I'll have the link in the description of this video, or you can grab it at the link on the channel's homepage. All right, and so I will see you in the next video, and remember, hold on, I think that's it. Let's see. If you have not looked at Thursday's, what was it? If you have not watched Thursday's live Astrology After Dark class, we talked about the 6th house, and so you definitely want to go and check that out. Okay, but till the next video, remember, divorce is not your ending. It is your initiation into the most powerful version of yourself. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.